Injuries and playing in the NFL, oh yeah, everybody's playing hurt. That's just a natural part of the game. And let me make this very clear. When you're watching the game on Sunday and you see all those guys running around and hitting and flying around, everyone's playing with an injury. They're hurt. I mean, obviously it's a different degree or level of injuries, whether it's minor or severe, but you pretty much learn how to play with pain. You find out what your tolerance for pain is. And, the proof is typically here, the injury report. All the teams keep injury reports on all of the players throughout their career. This is 7 years. This is the 7. I'm missing my first 2 years, but this is 7 years of all the injuries I have. Every time you got nicked, every time you went down, every time you walked in the treatment center, it was documented. So they would know what injury you had to obviously monitor or help you back to get healthy again, and of course protect the teams as well. But it's a natural part of the game. Everybody's playing injured. As far as remedies, remember, we're talking about the NFL. We're talking about billion-dollar industry here. And the NFL had the best of the best, especially when you talk about therapy and treatment and all that stuff. I mean, obviously, like I said in my previous vlog, we spent a lot of time in the treatment center, treating our injuries, icing and, massage and chiropractors and stem. I remember having a little portable stem I could take home. But to come home and watch films and sitting there icing my body parts was a normal, everyday occurrence. But they had some interesting remedies as well. I can remember one year when I had a strained hamstring, and they sent me to a facility where I stayed in a hyperbaric chamber. Yeah, I got in there. They lay you in kind of that tube, and you lay there for about an hour. And you talk about something a little freaky, a little uncomfortable, but I did. I did it for the whole week, and I'm so glad I did not have claustrophobia. But did it work? I don't know. But I did play on that Sunday after not practicing all week. So that was probably the most interesting form of treatment. Obviously, there's different types of pharmaceuticals that guys are pretty used to consuming, whether it's oral or shots. I mean, it's pretty obvious or pretty well known that cortisone was very popular back in the day. And then Toradol, I think it's pronounced, was the one that became real popular. And I think a lot of guys use that as an option, having a shot of Toradol. I think you can have it orally too, I'm not sure. But there would be guys that would get a shot, and it's a very high potent anti-inflammatory. So yes, guys would get shots and be able to play and all that stuff. I never had a shot. I did actually one time in the off season when I hurt my back really bad. It wasn't healing right, and so I had a shot of cortisone to see if it would help with recovery. But as far as during the season to be able to play in games, no, never did. One time they wanted to give me a shot when I had a hamstring injury, and I just said, no, I'm not doing it. And I was looked at kind of crazy, but I missed a couple weeks. I just didn't want a needle in my muscle. Typically, I would do Naprosyn. Naprosyn's kind of a step above like Advil or ibuprofen or something like that. That's probably the most I would ever do. I think there was probably some other harder stuff that some guys might have done, but I did Naprosyn. And then I got to the point where I had a routine where, especially towards the end of my career, just so that I could feel good on Sunday, I would take a Naprosyn after Friday's practice, take one in the morning, Saturday, one in the evening Saturday, and one Sunday morning. And that was how I got through the game my last couple years. It was just part of my routine. But you just, you do what you got to do to play, within reason, of course. Yeah, pressure to play that was what it was like. You had to play. You played hurt. If you wanted to keep your job, you wanted to support your family, you played. You tolerated as much pain as you could, and you learned to play through injuries. I can remember early in my career when I asked Tony Dungy, who was the defensive coordinator, I remember asking him for some advice, and he said, JJ, one of the best abilities a player can have is availability. Do whatever you can to stay healthy. Best ability is to be available. And I took that to heart, took care of myself as best as I could so that I could always be available. But the reality is, and I'll quote this from a player, and I can't remember who it was, he said, the first day in the league, in the NFL, will be the last day you will be 100% healthy. And that is true. Even to this day, all those hits and aches and pains, there's the residual effect. And that first day I went into camp, mini camp, was really the first day I was truly healthy. But it's part of the game. Injuries, playing hurt. If you want to play, you got to do it. So there you go.